Recently, I ran a poll on my community tab asking you guys which Splatoon game specials do you like the most, Splatoon 1 or Splatoon 2? And Splatoon 1 won by a larger margin than I expected. But are these specials actually better, or is it just a nostalgia talking? Today, I'm gonna bring back an old favorite series and go over every special from Splatoon 1. This is gonna be part 1, covering the Killer Wail, Inkstrike, Bomb Rushes, and the Echolocator. Part 2 will be covering the remaining 3 Inkzuka, Kraken, and Bubbler, as well as giving my overall rating. I hope you guys enjoy, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. Let's get started. First up is Echolocator, a location-based special a lot of people like to compare to Tenna missiles. However, this isn't the special I'd like to draw comparisons to. It's actually ink armor. Both of these specials activate and chain to everyone on a specific team, lasting for a set duration on every single player. Echolocator just affects the other team and is a location-based special, while Armor gives HP to your team. Armor even kinda gives away the position of your teammates, it's one major downside. That being said, my opinion on Echolocator is harsher than most. I think it's way too simple in activation in the same way Ink Armor is. You just press the special button, and it just does its own thing. I think that's just a little bit too much free value, especially with locating everyone on the other team. That's a lot more valuable of an effect than you might think. That being said, Armor is of course game-breaking because it gives people HP, while Location is a much less drastic effect, even if it is still strong. Though, personally, I'm not a big fan of direct location. I like stuff like Auto Bomb because it indirectly tells you where someone is, and because of that it can not only do other things, making it far more useful, but it doesn't give away too much to where the opponent doesn't have a lot of options, since it doesn't tell you exactly where people are. Outside of the effect itself though, I really just feel the person using Echo has very little input in what exactly happens, which for simple specials is something that needs to be done correctly. Just pressing the stick and something happens isn't really a great idea. That's really all there is to say on Echolocator. It's not a super harmful special for the game, but I wouldn't say it's a great designed one either. Alright though, if Echolocator is a simple special that doesn't work out, what is one that is? Well, Killer Wail. Before we get into the special itself, I know a lot of people are going to have problems with Killer Wail because if you put it in a specific area, there's nowhere to move. And honestly, while that's somewhat understandable, I would consider this problems with the stage being way too narrow or having areas that are too closed off, yet essential for the objective to go through. Not really a problem with the special itself. Though, as you can see from a competitive set I played in, it can get really bad.
So disgusting the fact that I was to use this anyway.
Did you guys have a lead?
We did. Oh, you gotta be joking.
That was hell, dude.
Oh, this is so dumb.
Killer Wail makes you extremely immobile when using it, so you must pop it in the right location, and then it just puts out a large beam that travels across the entire stage and lasts for about 3 seconds. If you're in this beam, you basically get obliterated. So Killer Wail is all about walling out the correct areas, allowing either your team to move forward, or stopping the other team from doing so. So why is this so good? Basically, the difference between a good and bad Killer Wail depends on 3 factors: the timing of when you use it, the position you're in, and where exactly you angle it. While it's really simple to just pop and use Killer Wail, the difference between a good and a bad one is drastic, and because of that, Killer Wail is actually a pretty labbed-on special, particularly by Spectre during the Splatoon 1 days, learning the right positions to be able to angle it in just the right spot. Again, the execution of the special is incredibly simple. It's not difficult to use it, but being able to know exactly when, where, and at what angle to point it at is what makes the special so unique. Which is exactly how a simple special should work. If you're really aware of what's going on, you should be able to get a lot more value out of it than someone who doesn't really understand the pace of the game. Overall, Killer Wail has plenty of downsides, isn't overly too strong, and is very dependent on how the individual uses it to get maximum value, rather than it being free. A perfect example of a simple special. Very similar to Killer Wail is Inkstrike, another simple special. Using it also makes you very immobile, but instead of angling it, you choose where exactly on the minimap you want to put it down, and it releases a strike, forcing people to move and putting paint on the floor. First up, the paint it puts out is pretty well designed in itself. Like with Booyah Bomb, you could paint over it by shooting the inside out, meaning it's not going to directly cap zone or control specific areas of turf, unless if the other team just leaves it be. Like with Wail, using the special leaves you pretty vulnerable, since you obviously can't really move that fast until the strike itself has been launched. And choosing the location you want to put it down is pretty nice too. You don't get to see where the other team is, only where your own is, so you really have to take intuition to know exactly where to place it and the right timing. Very similar to Wail. However, where exactly you use strike doesn't matter too much as long as it's safe, where it really did for Wail, so I wouldn't say it's as well designed. That being said, it is still pretty good. I would personally really like if they added a little bit more complexity to strike, though I'm not too sure how they would go about this, giving it some little bit extra function that might be able to be used in some situations, giving a little bit more options to the user. Of course, this new function must be simple in execution though to fit with the special's design. Overall though, I still like Strike, I'm just not a big a fan of it as I am with Killer Wail. Last up is Bomb Rush, which is actually a little bit more different from Launcher than you might think. Now, yes, obviously you can't throw the bombs any further. That was what they added in Splatoon 2. But there are two other big differences between Splat 1 Bomb Rush and Splat 2 Bomb Launcher. The first of which is that you have the same sub as your special. If you have a Splat Bomb, you have Splat Bomb Rush. Burst Bomb Rush, etc. I don't know why they did this, and I'm not a fan of it at all. I think it's a pretty unnecessary downside that really limits what kits could have Bomb Rush, so I'm glad they got rid of it in Splatoon 2. Though Splatoon 2 bomb launcher weapons can't have the same bomb as their sub for some reason. I don't know why either. The second one is far more interesting. Bombs that blow up after your full Bomb Rush timer has expired will actually paint for your next Bomb Rush. Now yes, this is broken Splatoon 1 specials, but I don't actually hate this. It adds an extra layer of complexity. If Bomb Rushes were a more expensive special than 180p, then you would actually have to use these bombs to help build your next one, or it would take you longer than other specials, which could have been honestly pretty interesting. That being said, I don't really think that would be that much of a challenge, or really anything super special, and it wouldn't be super intuitive to the player either. Outside of that, Bomb Rush is really just the same as Bomb Launcher, but with even less control. It's pretty simple, just throw bombs everywhere, and I've only become less of a fan of it as the years have gone by. Especially when newer specials like Ultra Stamp or the Crab Tank seem to have a lot of complexity to them, I think Bomb Rush is just far too simple without really being that special as other simple specials like Killer Wail. I'm not really a fan of it, even with the extra throwing range they added in Splatoon 2. I really think they need to add more to the special to make it really stand out. So, it's just okay, it's not really harmful for the game, but it's not really anything super amazing either. But there you have it, the simpler half of Splatoon 1 specials, I guess. Some remembered a bit more fondly than others, but I think overall nothing here is super harmful or super broken, which will be a very sharp contrast to the last three specials in this game, which are about the opposite in terms of how they affected things, and really what people remember. So, we'll be covering that in part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed.